Hello. Hello. Am I audible? Four. Four. Yeah. Hello. Am I audible?
Mr. Purohit?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. No, I thought you were asking if you could be heard. I think it's a call from Minister's office from Mizoram.
Yeah, I think.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes,
Hello,
absolutely audible.
Hello. Am I audible from Mizoram?
Yes,
You are audible.
please.
Yes. Good morning.
Okay. Good morning, sir.
Right. Shrikat, I think we can start the session. It's 11 o'clock, so we can start off.
Sure. Have we got all our panelists?
The panelists are all here for the session. Only the Honorable Union Minister will be joining in at around 11:30. That's what his office has advised us.
Perfect. Great. So, with everybody's permission, let me kick off this session, a very, very critical session on empowering MSMEs and enabling opportunities. As you would be aware, this is the second day in this series that we are doing on strengthening of logistics, opportunities and challenges for e-commerce in the Northeast of India. We have a very, very elite group of speakers and some very senior members from CII who have joined. First and foremost, Mr. Barua, welcome. I will welcome the rest, and I'll hand over the session to you. Good morning, Mr. Goswami, Nithumani Goswami, Head of Operations East India for Amazon. Good morning, Mr.
Morning, sir. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Mr. Tushar Jani, founder of Blue Dart Aviation. Mr. Jani, good morning.
I think he's rejoining Shrikat because there was some issue at his end. He's just rejoining.
Sure. Dr. R. Lalthanguliani, Honorable Minister of Industries and Commerce from Mizoram. Honorable Minister, welcome, good morning, and it's a privilege for us that you've joined the CII session. I hope you can hear me clearly. Good morning. Dr. Jitendra Singh, Minister of State, Ministry of Development of the Northeast region. Honorable Minister will be joining us a bit later, I understand. But without much putting forward the time, may I request Mr. Abhijit Barua, Chairman, CI Northeast Council and Managing Director of Premier Cryogenics Limited, to take up the session and take forward the discussion. Mr. Barua, all yours, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Saikat. Good morning to all of you who have joined the program. It's my proud privilege to welcome you all to this program. And this is a very important webinar, which is a part of a 4-part webinar series on empowering MSMEs, enabling opportunities. The first session explored the e-commerce opportunities of MSMEs and startup in Northeast, which was graced by the Honorable Chief Minister of Manipur, Honorable Minister of Industries and Commerce, Assam, along with other speakers. Today is the second session of the series where we would explore the opportunities and challenges of logistics for e-commerce in the Northeastern region. And the title is Strengthening Logistics, Opportunities and Challenges. It is my proud privilege to welcome Dr. R. Lalthanguliani, Honorable Minister of Industries and Commerce, Mizoram, Mr. Tushar Jani, founder of Blue Dart Aviation, Mr. Pradip Purohit, Chairman, CII's Northeast Core Committee on Infrastructure and Senior Vice President, Star Cement Limited, Mr. Pankaj Singh, Executive Director, National Highways and Infrastructure Development Corporation Limited, Mr. Binoy Chirania, Regional Manager, Central Warehousing Corporation, Mr. Aditya Kapoor, Head Warehousing of TVS Logistics, and our own Mr. Saikat Rai Chaudhary, Regional Director, East and Northeast of Confederation of Indian Industries. And finally, Dr. Jitendra Singh, Minister of State, Ministry of Development of Northeastern region, who will be joining us in a short while. Thank you all for agreeing to be a part of this session, despite of your extremely busy schedules. Your perspectives would go a long way in achieving the session's objectives. The three key words that I see in the today's program are the logistics, e-commerce, and Northeast. Northeast, of course, because we are in the Northeast, and this program is mainly for the Northeast audience. And Northeast has been the focus of Government of India like it had never been in the past. E-commerce is another area which is gaining prominence and is becoming a key driver of the economy in the entire globe, not just the Northeast or India, but the entire globe. Now, e-commerce is the area of opportunity, is the area where nobody can now ignore. E-commerce is something which we all on the business side we have to we have to see how we can take advantage of the e-commerce opportunities opening up around the globe. And the third key word is the logistics. Whenever we have been talking about the Northeast, we have always been talking about the problems in the logistics. No doubt this region has many challenges in logistics. But the opportunities that are opening up in the logistics sector are also, you may say, once in a lifetime opportunities. The way the national highway network, the railway network is developing in the Northeast is something that we have not seen before. So many bridges and roads and railway lines are under construction. The gates with our neighboring countries are also opening up. The trilateral highway is under construction. The roads to and the trade barriers with Bangladesh are being removed. And the government is focusing so much into the logistics sector that in the state government of Assam has come up with a huge logistic park near Jugegopal. So all these are really pointers that the government is giving a lot of emphasis on the logistics in this sector, and it's now time for us in the business to take full advantage of it. The Northeast part of the country poses tremendous economic growth potential, and I would rather say it is no longer a potential, but the growth figures that we see in the Northeast are not only at par with the rest of India, but I would say that generally above the national average. So this is the Northeast is throwing up immense opportunities for business, and it is high time that we leverage that potential to position us as a regional and global logistic hub. Proximity to two fast-growing economic regions, East Asia and Southeast Asia, has endowed the region a distinct economic and geopolitical advantage. Yet, its contribution is still only about 3% to the country's GDP. Some of the key challenges of the Northeastern region are lack of proper connectivity. Many of the states all the states are landlocked, lesser number of airports, hilly terrain, etc. The need of the hour would be to strengthen the last mile delivery network and warehousing in the states. I would not call them as challenges, but rather I would call them as opportunities. There are opportunities in the infrastructure sector, many opportunities are there. At the same time, a young demographic profile, increasing internet penetration, smartphone penetration, relatively better economic performance has catalyzed the fastest growth of the Indian e-commerce market, expecting it to reach a US $84 billion by 2021, and then grow up to US $200 billion by 2026. The e-commerce market is huge and is increasing exponentially. The Indian e-commerce industry is on a rising growth trajectory and is expected to surpass the largest e-commerce economy, that is the US, to become the, no, that is the second largest, so that we expect India to become the second largest e-commerce market in the world by 2034. The Indian government has made a range of efforts to propel growth, promote industrialization, and boost employment generation in the Northeast, including infrastructure projects, power, connectivity, tourism, education, health, and many more to promote industrialization in the region, with emphasis on boosting employment and income generation in the manufacturing and service sectors. For e-commerce to excel, accessibility to infrastructure is a key factor. Geographical topography of the Northeastern region often causes hindrance to the last mile delivery or e-commerce sector. Today's discourse will gauge the challenges and try to extract optimum opportunities for the sector. I believe through this dialogue, we could bring out a positive path to developing local supply chains, building distribution linkages by engaging the communities, which would go a long way in enhance the e-commerce business in the region as a whole. With these words, I welcome you once again to this webinar and request our esteemed panelists to throw more light into the opportunities and challenges in the e-commerce, logistics and e-commerce in the Northeastern region. We have a very eminent panel, and I would request Mr. Nitumani Goswami, Head Operations East India Amazon, to speak on, give us a view, his view of setting the context for this webinar today. Mr. Goswami, please.
Thank you, Mr. Barua. Thank you.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Honorable Minister of Industries and Commerce, Mizoram, Dr. Lalthang Liana, friend from industry, Mr. Tushar Jani, other dignitaries from the government and industries, ladies and gentlemen, very good morning to all of you. I would like to start by actually thanking Honorable Minister for Commerce and Industry from Mizoram, Dr. Lalthang Liana, for joining us today. Dr. Jitendra Singh ji will be joining us in some time. Thank you, CII, for inviting me to be a part of today's webinar on strengthening logistics, opportunities and challenges for e-commerce in Northeast. I also thank all the members of this panel for coming together to participate in this discussion. I would also like to express my gratitude to the audience who have actually dialed in into this webinar to watch this discussion, and I just hope that through this session they find useful insights that would help them digitally transform their businesses and probably understand the government trust areas for development of infrastructure and logistics in the Northeast region. We all know that Northeast region, with its abundant natural resources, skillful human capital, and a very vibrant and youthful population, and we know that we have an entrepreneurial spirit also in this youthful population. It has all the ingredients to play a very key part in the growth story of India. A thrust from the central and state government on this fast-paced logistics and trade infrastructure development to strengthen the entire supply chain network in the region, in the Northeast region, and the region Mr. Barua spoke about. We have certain challenges, but that's where we look for those opportunities. Uh, this trust is playing an important role in unlocking the potential of this entire Northeastern region. And in this entire ecosystem, e-commerce is playing a very, very important role. It's a very important stakeholder in this entire logistics and supply chain ecosystem. It also plays a very important role in bridging the gap between the businesses and the consumers. Logistics and supply chain companies today in India are fast spreading their operational footprint in the entire Northeast to leverage this potential that we have in this Northeast region, which is like growing as a logistics destination for the entire Eastern India as such. One of the most significant changes we have noticed during the last 1 year or so in this pandemic era is how businesses and consumers have evolved and transformed themselves by adopting various digital means and online tools for their daily needs. And e-commerce actually has been offering not only consumers but also these small and medium businesses the opportunity to continue catering to the needs of customers, helping minimize the impact of lockdown and reviving businesses, and even preventing job losses. I would rather go another step. Probably e-commerce created new jobs in this entire process over the last few months that we have seen. Talking of Amazon in particular, our continued investments in northeastern states by having more than 60 delivery stations across the states, a fulfillment center, and a sort center is to ensure that we reach to a wider base of customers and sellers, which means these MSMEs and SMBs of every part of this entire region, creating more and more direct and indirect employment. Amazon has been partnering with local entrepreneurs over the years, over the last few years, enabling them, these small businesses, with a lot of growth opportunities, various growth opportunities. I'll share an example, a classic example, where a first generation woman entrepreneur, Ms. Sanjukta Datta from Guwahati, Assam, partnered with Amazon for a small last mile delivery station about 4 years back, 4.5 years back, with just about 4 people, including her, 4 employees rather. And since then, she has been able to expand her business beyond Guwahati to neighboring districts. And now she and her firm employs more than 200 people in these delivery stations operated by her. And all these people are, of course, from the local communities. Amazon in efforts to reaching out to customers and enabling sellers from Northeastern region, and we know Northeast has all those unique, and rare products, whether we talk of Mekhala Chadar of Swalkuchi, or let's say the organic tea or the handicrafts of Nagaland. I think we have enough and more in Northeast. We have expanded our network in such a manner that it reaches almost 99% of our pin codes through direct and through our 3P partners. I'll cite another great example of our outreach to customers, and it talks about our innovation as well in the entire process. We enabled, servicing Majuli River Island more than a couple of years back, actually. And we know about Majuli Island. The only medium to reach this island is through regularized ferries on River Brahmaputra. As I mentioned, Amazon has innovated its supply chain and logistics in such a manner that the customers from this island have the convenience of buying anything and everything and getting it delivered at their doorsteps. That's probably the power of e-commerce. And of course, the sellers, the handicrafts from Majuli can come out and go to any part of the country. India at present spends about 14% of its GDP on logistics and transportation, as opposed to probably 8 to 9% of GDP in the developed countries. This obviously implies that the cost of logistics in our country, and specifically in some of our areas like Northeast, where the terrains are difficult, the costs are really, really high. And probably we need to improve on logistics and supply chain infrastructure to reduce the overall cost, which finally leads to further development. The policy reforms and greater thrust on creating a cost-efficient, seamless, and efficient logistics network will go a really long way towards boosting domestic trade, creating employment, in addition to aiding the general growth and development of the Northeastern region. I'm pretty confident that we'll be able to create many more success stories like the couple of examples that I mentioned, and we'll be able to enable small and medium businesses to realize the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat by creating a world-class logistics and supply chain network in the Northeastern region. Dhanyavad. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you, Mr. Nithumani Goswami, for your insightful setting of the context. And after all, Amazon is the real e-commerce company, the original e-commerce company, and I'm sure many of the smaller e-commerce companies in India and Northeast are looking up to you as to how you have managed to grow to such huge scale within such a short time. Mr. Jani, the founder of Blue Dart Aviation, is not able to join in. Is he, Mr. Jani, are you here? Or I think he has some issues and he is not able to join so far. So we will take him later on, and we will go directly to the address by guest of honor, Dr. R. Lalthangi Lena, who is the Honorable Minister of Industries and Commerce of Mizoram. Sir, we look forward to your address. Santa, is the Honorable Minister ready to join now?
He is there, but I think some technical problem may happen.
Okay. Just,
Hello.
yeah,
Honorable
okay.
Minister?
We will wait for a while. Yeah.
Shanta, can you check with Minister Singh's office to see if there's a problem with his network?
Yes, we are just checking it out. Agnes is working on it.
Sure.
If, while we have a few minutes time, I think for that, would Mr. Goswami tell us something about the journey of Amazon in the US, starting in the US and then in India and the Northeast. How is the Amazon doing in India?
Okay, thank you, sir. I would restrict my probably comments on how we are doing here. We have seen a lot of changes over the past 1 year. I just mentioned about how things have been over the past year. I think last year, uh, completely over the last 10 to 11 months have been completely focused on safety of our people and customers. That was top priority, and it was not only in India but also across the countries where we operate in. And uh, the speed at which the organization and the teams rallied around to bring innovations, bring technological execution into place, uh, to ensure the safety of people working across in our fulfillment centers, sub centers, as well as last mile deliveries. I think that is uh, uh, the most important part. Our focus has been mainly on that because we have a long journey to go. Uh, as we say, I think these are still the beginning days. We have a long way to go. And of course, in Northeast, as I just mentioned, we started small, but we are reaching out to most of the pin codes across Northeast, and we are continuing to invest and invest in Northeast to reach out to customers and the local sellers and MSMEs in the region.
So did the COVID pandemic, did it actually help the e-commerce sector to grow? Because that is how many people switched over to e-commerce for getting their daily necessities rather than going to a crowded marketplace.
I think rightly mentioned. If you look at it, uh, when the country went into the lockdown, and then the government, when we decided that the essential services should be opened up immediately, uh, customers obviously, moved from offline to online, and it was probably the safest way for customers, ordering from the comfort of their and safety of their homes, and get the packages delivered or get the essentials delivered at their doorstep, and with all the safety norms and social distancing and safety norms being adhered. Uh, it took a lot of efforts, and not only from probably Amazon but for other organizations as well. But I just mentioned about you know uh, the investment that we made over the last 1 year only on safety of our people, which people as in our associates working in fulfillment centers, sub centers, drivers, our delivery associates, whether it is providing with PPEs, whether it was providing with sanitizers and other equipment so that we keep them safe. Ultimately, it was to ensure that we were keeping our customers also safe when we were reaching out to their doorstep. Similarly, at seller points also, we were trying to execute everything so that we kept everybody safe. Uh, uh, yes, of course. I mean, people move from offline to online, but I think it's still a journey.
Okay. And what are the logistics issues that you face in the Northeast compared to, say, rest of India or most parts of India? What exactly are the issues that you would like to be addressed that will improve the e-commerce delivery as well as sourcing from Northeast?
Okay. Uh, specifically for Northeast, I think India is a vast country, and unlike many of the, let's say, European or North American, geographies, India, every state is like a country in India. And when we specifically talk of Northeast, uh, apart from the positives that we have, I mentioned about the natural resources, a population which is more youthful, a population which is, uh, probably coming off from era of, going for services to an era where they are looking for the entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial stint. These are some of the positives, but some of the challenges, that we or any one of us or all the businesses probably face, specifically from logistics point of view, is of course the topography and some of those infrastructure problems that we see. We see extreme weather conditions also, especially during the monsoons, and uh, our infrastructure, the current infrastructure also get disturbed during that particular season. For example, Assam, uh, unfortunately, goes through, mm, the floods, waves of floods every year, and that's where this entire disruption happens, where probably things get delayed, whether it is a seller selling from, let's say, Majuli, for an example, and due to, let's say, high water levels of Brahmaputra, the ferries are closed. So probably that package which had to handicraft from Majuli had to go to, let's say, Chennai, it might get delayed because the water level has to go. I'm giving very specific example, but these are the challenges. And apart from that, I think our youth today uh, uh, are taking up these challenges as opportunity areas. There is a complete, paradigm shift where the youth is ready to innovate, and make these challenges into opportunities. Uh, but I think some of these areas, and very specific to a particular time of the year, whether it is monsoon, uh, where things get disturbed, the infrastructure gets disturbed, and things get delayed, and of course, it increases the cost of operation for the supply chain and logistics operators. That's how it impacts. There could be many other examples coming up in later on. Yeah, I think the Honorable Minister is ready.
Hello, Nikhil, Finance Commissioner.
Mr. Bora, you're on mute.
Yes, the other minister will be available very soon.
Honorable Minister, thank you very much for joining us today in this program. We understand you have a very busy schedule, and in spite of that, you have joined this webinar, and we are very much thankful to you. We are discussing the opportunities and challenges for e-commerce in the Northeast, and particularly the logistics issues, and how the issues can be resolved, and how we can strengthen the logistics issues of the Northeast. And we are very much hopeful that the trilateral highway is coming, and also Bangladesh, the transit issues are getting resolved. So we are, the international borders will probably soon be open for trade, and Mizoram is really at the state that is going to probably benefit the maximum, because from being the last state of the country, it becomes the first state of the country as far as the East Asian neighbors is concerned. Sir, for joining us, we request to address the gathering today.
Public volunteer control.
Honorable Minister, we are looking forward to your address.
Myself,
Yes, sir.
yeah, I can't hear you because of the network. Now I can start.
Yes, sir.
Now I can start. Okay. Thank you so much. First of all, a very good morning to all of you, and I would like to say my best wishes for the new year to come. We have completed 1.5 months only, and thank you so much for inviting me to participate in our service. This being my first opportunity, so I would like to convey my greetings to the Honorable Donor Minister of State, Dr. Jitendra Singh, and at the same time, Mr. Abhijit Barua, the Chairman of the Northeastern Council, and at the same time, Mr. Pradeep Purohit, Chairman, Northeast Core, and Vinay Chirani and Tushar Jani. Thank you so much. And this is the right time that you are holding this seminar, because you see, Mizoram is, as you know, is a mountainous region which became the 23rd state of the Union in February 1987 only. And it was one of the districts of Assam till 1972, when it became UT, Union Territory. Surrounded by, we have a long border line with Myanmar, 404 kilometers, and Indo-Myanmar, we have 318 kilometers, you know. This means that, you know, Mizoram occupies an area of great strategic importance in the northeastern corner of India, you know, offering a gateway for engaging in international trade with the blooming Southeast Asian countries. This is a very vital point. Secondly, at current prices, you know, the gross state domestic product, GSDP of Mizoram reached rupees 312.41 billion, and in 2019-20, well, the net state domestic product reached 203 billion. And this clearly depicts, you know, the vast opportunities of the state, natural resources, climatic condition, and the policy incentive in the states support investment in bamboo, particularly sericulture, tourism, agro products, and agro processing sectors. So our state is a land of hilly people pertaining to its hilly terrains have faced severe connectivity issues. This is a big problem. With improving roads, rails, and air connectivity, the establishment of trade routes with neighboring countries, trade facilitation has needed to be improved. This is really important because we have only one airport connecting Kolkata, connecting New Delhi only. And we don't have even the railhead to reach Mizoram. This is a very, very, you know, important point which I would like to mention, because we are living in the most extreme corner of Northeastern state. So in India, the e-commerce sector is growing fast to reach the estimated US dollar of 99 billion by 2024, growing at the rate of 27% CARG over 2019-2024, with a volume of e-commerce orders increased by 36% in the last quarter of 2020 alone. So this sector has emerged as a pillar of the retail industry and enormous opportunities that e-commerce, presence has been realized by small and big business. This is extremely important. So Mizoram, owing to its strategic location, as I have just mentioned, can be a seat for logistic and warehousing hub with abundant natural resources, international trade opportunities, and the availability of skilled labor. A strong, energy between industry, innovation, and infrastructure is essential in producing economic growth and social development. This is really important. So the industry sector has shown steady growth since the past few years, with a growth rate of 17.07% showing in 2018-19 compared to previous years. So the state government has taken several initiatives towards attaining sustainable development goals. In Mizoram, you had a vision of 2030 conceived development as a multi-dimensional process with integrated social, economic, and environment growth, as well as the major macroeconomic policies, which largely depends on the key growth sector in the economy. So the government is ready to extend at this time all possible help to industry with necessary policy intervention, ease of doing business to facilitate the transition of Mizoram into a progressive state. That means we would like to build up Zoram Thar, a new Zoram. Okay, so e-commerce is one such strong sector which will open new doors to promote the local and unique products of the state to the rest of the world. So we know your activities, and we really appreciate and would like to extend, our welcome for, entering your activities in our state. Thank you so much. I may not be able to attend all the, program because of my previous engagement, which I had in the afternoon. Anyway, please bear with me. I would like to request your understanding, I may not be able to attend all the program today. Thank you so much for inviting me and for allowing me to address this webinar series at this time. Thank you so much. You are welcome even in the future. Thank you.
Mr. Barma, I think your mic is on mute.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Minister. It is very heartening to know that Mizoram is growing rapidly and the state GDP is increasing every year. And it has got many strengths in the areas of agro industry, bamboo, and other areas, sericulture. We do hope that the state will be able to take full benefit of the e-commerce opportunities by its young entrepreneurs, the youth, and the e-commerce sector will also contribute to further increase in the gross domestic product and economy of the state. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Invite the chief guest of the program today, Dr. Jitendra Singh, Minister of State for Ministry of Development of Northeastern Region. As the Honorable Minister has joined yet, Santa?
He hasn't joined yet. He will be joining in a moment, please.
Okay, we'll just wait for Honorable Minister to join.
Itu melakukan perbedaan.
Mr. Borua, I think if you could just start the session and then Dr. Singh can join us because he's on his way. And if we start with the technical session, he will join us, please.
All right. Mr. Pradeep Purohit, the chairman of CII Northeast Core Committee on Infrastructure, will be leading the discussions on the technical session. May I request Mr. Purohit to please take over and start the next session while we wait for the Honorable Minister, Dr. Jitendra Singh, to join us. Mr. Purohit, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Barua, for giving this opportunity to me to open this session and welcome all the dignitaries. On this session, we welcome Mr. Vinay Chirania, Warehousing Regional Manager, Central Warehousing Corporation. Mr. Tamir Hassan, Chief Commercial Manager, Freight Marketing, NF Railway. Mr. Aditya Kapoor, National Head Warehousing, TVS Supply Chain Solutions. Mr. Nitumani Goswami, Head Operations, East India, Amazon. And we are thankful that Dr. L. Lalthangliana is available with us to witness and be with us on this session. As we wait for Dr. Jitendra Singh, Minister of State, Ministry of Development, Northeast Region, we wish to start this session, this technical session on strengthening logistics, challenges and opportunities. The name itself or the program's heading itself speaks of the subject, and we are fortunate to be discussing on this subject, having these very relevant speakers on this subject available with us today. This is one space in which I would like to specially mention that as our chairman, Dr. Abhijit Barua, was speaking and mentioned about the growth of Northeast being better than national average, and that has been a phenomena not only for a year or two, but has been a phenomena for quite some time. And the other good part is that the Northeast consumer base is having a lot of appetite for goods to come in and being sold in this part of the country. At the same time, we have a very good supply base which aspires to market their product elsewhere in the country as well as the world otherwise, and such supply base can be tapped with the e-commerce ecosystem if we can overcome the challenges of logistics. Yes, we do have logistical challenges in Northeast, and that should not only be considered as a challenge but an opportunity too. Certainly, we need to look at it with a different point of view or different type of outlook in order to develop and take benefits out of the market available. These challenges certainly takes care of, certainly poses and gives us the opportunity to bring in some new ideas how to penetrate deep into the markets. Although as we were listening to Mr. Nithumani Goswami when he was saying that 99% of the pin codes have been attended, but we would like to mention that yes, pin codes may have been attended, but area under one pin code in Northeast is much larger, and maybe the headquarter of that pin code may be attended. So we need to really expand our base, and in doing so, a lot of employment generation can take place because of the in order to take care of the challenges that are available. We look forward to those developments, and we look forward to our dignitaries to deliberate on this subject. And I would request first Mr. Vinay Chirania, Regional Manager, Central Warehousing Corporation, to kindly deliberate on the subject that we are having today. Mr. Chirania. Shanta, I think if Mr. Chirania
yeah, Mr. Chirania, he had logged in, but somehow I think he had logged out. Can we go ahead with Mr. Hassan? He is here.
Yes.
In the meantime, I'm just connecting with Chirania.
Yes. So we move forward to Mr. Tanveer Hassan, Chief Commercial Manager of Marketing, North Frontier Railway, for his deliberations on the subject. Mr. Hassan, please let us have your views on the subject.
Thank you very much, Rohit. Thank you. Can I share the content? Is this content presentation?
Shanta, can you provide the facilities for uploading the PPT? I think Mr. Hassan wants to have a PPT presented.
Yeah, we have given him the presenter right, so he may please go ahead.
All right.
Thank you so much, Mr. Purohit and the esteemed guests, the Honorable Minister, Liliana, Minister of Industry and Commerce, Government of Mizoram, all the guests, panelists, thank you so much. This is just a small brief on the topic from the Northeast Frontier Railways on how we are moving strengthen the logistics and what are the certain key issues and points that we want to just highlight in this gathering. We have a very strong railway network in the entire Northeast region. Railways have a very strong network which serves as the lifeline of the entire Northeast region and provides connectivity to the various states. We have a large number of terminals, goods terminals and parcel terminals available for handling various types of commodities. So these are spread across various states of Northeast and caters to various states, not just Assam, but other states like Meghalaya, Arunachal, Tripura, and other states are being catered to. And we are also in the process of developing the network for other states also. There has been a significant addition of infrastructure in the last few years. There have been various bottlenecks, infrastructural bottlenecks in handling traffic previously, but there has been a concerted effort to remove these bottlenecks in bringing more and more traffic. So various kind of restrictions that were there has been eased by the Northeast Frontier Railways. The traffic can flow rather smoothly, and there has been significant growth in the traffic in the last few years, and which will I come to. So we are also trying to develop new connectivities to various state capitals. The latest one being Manipur, Imphal, that Zubza station is coming up, which will connect to Imphal, and then Sairang, Mizoram, we are trying to connect. Work is in progress. So there is a line between Bhairabi to Sairang, which is under construction. And very soon, we should be able to have this railway connectivity very close to Aizwal. Very close to Aizwal. It is around 20 kilometers from Aizwal. So this is another project which is in pipeline. Similarly, there are other projects. So I was talking about the growth and in the traffic. You can just a small glimpse of that. You can see that this is how we are progressively growing over the last few years in terms of handling both outward traffic as well as the inward that we are receiving. So there is a
Mr. Hassan, I think the presentation is not coming on the screen. Whether this is the problem only with me or it is happening elsewhere too.
Okay.
Is the presentation visible to others?
No, not yet.
Not visible.
Can you please access? Hello, Mr.
Mr. Purohit, just to update you, but Dr. Jitendra Singh, our Honorable Minister, has also joined. So he's on the session.
Great. We take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Jitendra Singh, Minister of State, Ministry of Development of Northeast Region. Welcome you, sir, on this all-important session. We are very privileged to have you and have the opportunity of listening to you and your views on the subject. We are in midst of the discussion with Mr. Hassan, and we look forward to your deliberations.
Yeah. Should I continue?
Please.
So, that network is being developed with the other states, which I just said. We are also various commodities that are there that we are handling this like food grains, used goods, perishables, petroleum, and various other commodities which are being developed, which are being handled. Logistics beyond borders. We have connectivity with Bhutan. I mean, traffic is coming from Bhutan, Hasimara point, and the Dalgaon point, where dolomite and gypsum being handled from Bhutan. Bangladesh network we have from Singhabad to Rohanpur and Radhikapur to Birol, and then Haldibari, Chilhati, which has just shortly been opened by the Honorable Prime Minister. And then we have this another line, Nishchintpur to Akhura. So these are the points where the international trade from Bangladesh is being facilitated. From Nepal, also this Jogbani, Viratnagar connectivity is work is in progress. There are many new initiatives which NF Railways have undertaken in terms of running time-tabled parcel trains, which are being run. There are opening of new terminals. We are opening multiple new terminals according to demand. Wherever there is a demand, we are opening new terminals to facilitate the traffic. Kisan Rail is being run, which are dedicated parcel trains. 50% subsidy is being offered for carrying freight, perishables through these rails. We have already run a few Kisan rails carrying potatoes and other perishable items from the NF region. There is a facility for running refrigerated vans for carrying flowers, dairy products, etc. across the country. So the commodities grown in the Northeast can be taken across the country through these vans. That facility is being provided. We are trying to attract new traffic, tea traffic through railways. Guwahati is a hub of e-commerce, and we can provide spaces in the various trains, the parcel trains, parcel spaces of the various trains, SLRs, which can be used by the e-commerce companies to carry the commodities and take it into the various parts of the Northeastern region. That is another thing, and Northern Railway has already undertaken such a project. So this is another opportunity. There is a huge potential for increase in traffic. Like railways is a bulk carrier, is a robust network. The movement can be fast. We can ensure safe and secure transportation with punctuality. There is available capacity, which I said earlier. Infrastructure has grown significantly, and the traffic is also growing. It is an environmental friendly mode of taking the commodities. So these are some of the issues which there are certain challenges in terms of last mile connectivity. Multiple handling of non-bulk commodities is an issue. Warehousing is another aspect which need to be tackled. And lastly, we are also trying to work multimodal partnerships. So recently, that there is the Pandu port is there, and Railways is trying to have some new traffic to flow, with linkages being established with Kolkata and Chittagong port. So this can reduce the logistic cost significantly. We are also trying to look into the RoRo services, possibilities of RoRo services. MOU with Inland Waterways is being done. So these are some of the opportunities as far as the railways is concerned, and we are trying to partner with other network and multimodal agencies, highways, and the shipping, so that the total logistic solutions can be provided for better transportation and increasing logistics. Thank you.
Thank you, Hassan, for all the inputs that we have from railways, and we are really thankful to Indian Railways and NF Railways more specifically for giving us all the support. Even during the COVID time, all the supports were coming in from NF Railway. Thank you very much. And we now welcome Honorable Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh, Minister of State, Ministry of Development of Northeast Region. Welcome, sir, and please share with us your deliberations.
Thank you, Pradeep. Thank you very much. And good afternoon, everybody. I'm Glad to be amongst the galaxy of CII and the stakeholders of the subject today. Chairman CII Abhijit Barua, our colleague from Mizoram, Honorable Minister Shri R. Lalthan Gliana, and the Regional Director CII Saikit Roy Chaudhary, office bearers of the Confederation of Indian Industries. At the outset, I have to compliment you for having very thoughtfully organized this webinar and on a subject which is very relevant today and is also one of the priorities of the government headed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and particularly when all of us are in one way or the other connected with the Northeast, dealing with Northeast. I think it was in the fitness of things and keeping in tune with the priorities of the times to hold an interactive session like this, concentrating on MSMEs, the opportunities, the logistics, and the challenges of e-commerce in the Northeastern region of India. As all of us know, and I hardly need to read that the Northeastern region is one of the most vibrant, one of the most potential, at the same time, I would also say unexplored regions of India, comprising 8 beautiful states of Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Tripura, Manipur, Mizoram, Sikkim, Nagaland, Meghalaya, covering an area of as much as about 2.62 lakh square kilometer, and a region which is known for its biodiversity. I often keep saying that if India is known as a country of unity in diversity, Northeast would be known as a region with diversity within diversity. They have so much of variation. At the same time, they also have learned to live with each other in perfect harmony without ever realizing or making others realize that there is some variation amongst them. And therefore, the Ministry of Development of Northeastern region is mandated particularly with the development of the region, of course, besides that, coordinating the various issues and the various projects, even though sometimes they may be directly monitored by other ministries, and also to act as a coordinator amongst the 8 states. And we have affiliated with us an agency called Northeastern Council, which has its headquarters in Shillong, which is the original capital of the erstwhile Assam, and therefore by legacy it has been there since 1970s. This also acts as a kind of a resource center for Northeastern region and for conceiving, for researching, and for preparing roadmaps for whatever new projects can be set in. I can say with a reasonable degree of confidence that over the last nearly 7 years, ever since Prime Minister Modi took over, we have tried to explore regions, explore areas which were left unattended. And the Ministry of Development of Northeastern region, which actually came into being and was conceived during the regime of late Atal Bihari Vajpayee, has actually received impetus during the regime of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Whether it be the tourism sector, whether it be the connectivity, is for the first time, for example, we are having a huge initiation into the development of inland waterways, which I know for what reason was never attended to in the past. We today have airports coming up in virtually every state capital. Till about 6-7 years back, we didn't have an airport in Sikkim. We now have there as well. We didn't have an airport in Arunachal Pradesh, which happens to be the most northern eastern state in Northeast and strategically important as well. We have international airport in Guwahati, another one coming up. We have a network of roads. We have a network of railways, which is quite in contrast to the situation that prevailed before 2014, when we didn't have, when at least 2 or 3 states had never seen a train. And now we have a double track rail being laid down. We would soon be rolling out a train from Tripura, Agartala to Bangladesh. And this has been possible because Prime Minister Narendra Modi has given a very high degree of priority to the Northeastern region. At the very beginning, he had said that it would be my sincere effort and a resolve as well to bring Northeast at par with the more developed regions of the country, the more developed states, so that the country as a whole could actually benefit from a holistic growth and a wholesome growth, and that alone could actually also take us forward in achieving our ambition of a two-digit GDP and a 5 trillion economy, because if Northeastern region lags behind, the other states also do well, maybe the Western states. As a whole, we would get pulled down economically. And one of the earliest decisions taken was to convert the Look East policy to Act East, which by nomenclature itself means that now the time had come to be very actively involved in engaging with the countries located across the eastern borders. And to my understanding, I would say that if you really wish to engage with the countries beyond the eastern borders, you would have to first empower the areas proximal to the eastern borders, which otherwise would mean the northeastern states. Because if we do not empower them, they would not be in an optimum position, or maybe not equally placed, to engage in business, trade, and other activities with the countries across the borders, because they have common lifestyles, common culture, common food habits, and their products would find takers, clientage, consumers immediately across the border. And to that extent, to engage with the ASEAN countries, Prime Minister Modi not only gave an impetus, we had a meeting at Guwahati, we had a meeting in Delhi as well, which was personally attended by Prime Minister Modi in order to send out a message that, look here, the head of the state, the head of the country was himself pushing forward the growth of this region. And I think that personal outreach by Prime Minister Modi is something which has done all the wonders, which makes all the difference, because very often we tend to forget, or maybe it goes unnoticed, that Prime Minister Modi in the last over 6.5 years, in spite of the constraints and the lockdowns of the Corona period, has traveled to Northeast as many as nearly 41 times. 41 times is a huge number of visits being paid by the Prime Minister of such a large country, and I think which would be more than the total number of visits paid by many of his predecessors put together. So that is the kind of realization that the government at New Delhi has about the importance of Northeast being a partner in India's growth story, particularly in the years to come. The economic linkages can only get increased, as all of us know, when we are well equipped in the areas of logistics, e-commerce, and supply chains. And therefore, the e-commerce supply chain is one of the most promising areas. And the pandemic that we have recently gone through has shown how economics and e-commerce had fueled the livelihoods of MSMEs and small players. And the Modi government, as well as the Ministry of Finance, under his directions, also paid due attention to this aspect. And with a view to strengthening logistics and trade infrastructure and creating a vibrant multimodal transport sector in the region, the government has initiated in a phased manner development strategies and specific sectoral policy interventions along with infrastructure development. The Indian supply chain companies are fast spreading their operations in the northeastern region. A rise in the cargo movement from the hinterland and Southeast Asia through Kolkata port has consolidated this position. And for e-commerce, the last mile delivery network is the Kiri-Kite area. The northeastern states and the cities like Guwahati are emerging as strong logistic and warehousing hotspots. And during the Corona also, we could realize that there had been a foundational preparedness in Northeast during the last 5-6 years of the Modi government, as a result of which the sudden challenge posed by Corona could also be faced much more effectively and successfully by the northeastern states compared to most of the other states of the country. And this has been the conclusion drawn by several of the independent surveys also. I think one of the most distinctive examples of this is that during the entire phase of the lockdown period, which was officially imposed from 25th of March last year onwards, we had at least 2 or 3 states which did not report a single case of corona. For example, Sikkim being one of them. It was only later on when the movement of the population started. So we had cases coming from through the people, or the infection getting, through the traveling through the people who had come from different parts of the country, traveling back to these states. And so that also shows the kind of inherent discipline, inherent professionalism with which the people of Northeast are naturally bestowed with. It's only that it has to be streamlined and generalized in the most optimum manner, in the most positive manner, with outcomes in mind. And when I say so, I also say so because I have a gut feeling that now, post-COVID, even though the entire world is, a little apprehensive, a little anticipatory about what would be the shape of things to come, to my mind, though I would not say that I would say that we could have corona again and again, but for us in Northeast, this has actually come as a great virtue and an opportunity. And in the times to come, particularly in the post-COVID era, I have definite reasons to say that Northeast will lead the post-COVID India and its economy. If you recall, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, during one of his visits to Northeast, has said, Northeast means NE. And then beautifully in his inimitable style, he said, what does the NE stand for? NE stands for new engine. So now actually I see time has come when Northeast will take over as the new engine of new India, which Prime Minister Modi is trying to usher in by the time India observes 75 years of its independence. Because, and when I say so, I said I have some scientific logic with it, because there were enormous potentials of Northeast which have remained unexplored. For example, tourism. And I'm very confident we have a large section of holiday makers in India who have this habit and an annual routine feature of traveling to European destinations during the summers, particularly the month of May, June. But now, when May, June of 2021 arrives, their family members, their spouses will tell them, look here, we should think twice before going to so-and-so European destination because it was continuously reeling through Corona. Still it is. So why not go to Gangtok? Why not go to Shillong, which is absolutely safe, cost effective as well. So this is an opportunity which we could make use of because of the recent sequence of events. And the Northeastern Ministry, the Ministry of Development of Northeast region is very conscious of this fact. And that is the reason we have also tried to expand our activities, expand the resources of Northeast to different parts of the country. The most notable example being that of bamboo. We have enlarged our bamboo spectrum to reach different parts of the country. We are in the process of setting up 3 bamboo clusters, beginning from one of the northernmost territories of Jammu and Kashmir. We have 3 clusters in plan in and around the outskirts of Jammu city. And then we hope to travel to other parts of the country as well, so as to realize what huge potential in terms of trade, commerce, business, livelihood lies in bamboo, the maximum reserve of which lives in the Northeast. And that's why I said, and I conclude by saying, Northeast, NE, the new engine of post-COVID India. Thank you very much, friends in CII.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for all the insights that you have given us and the direction in which you have taken the affairs of Northeast and Act East policy. We are really thankful to the Prime Minister and you for giving this new term. Northeast will lead with the new engine. So NE means new engine is the new term that we accept, and we are really honored, sir. And thank you very much that you could take time out for us to discuss and deliberate on this discussion. Thank you, sir. We have had good discussions, and we could hear a lot of new things from Dr. Jitendra Singh, Honorable Minister. We now move ahead with our rest of the discussions on the subject, that is strengthening logistics, challenges and opportunities. And we now look forward to our next speaker, Mr. Aditya Kapoor, National Head, Warehousing, TVS Supply Chain Solutions, to give us the service provider's perspective on this subject. Mr. Kapoor.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thanks to the CII team for this discussion on this topic, which is now becoming a talk of the India, where we, with the help of the government, the co-East policy has been there. Thanks to Mr. Honorable Minister, esteemed guests, panelists, and CII representatives. From the perspective of a service provider, I will take 1 minute in introducing the TVS supply chain, then I will go to the basic topic of the expectation as a service provider. So TVS supply chain, we are working with around the globe, around 50 countries with a revenue of $1.1 billion. We started our overall operation in 2004. We are working with more than 100 plus Fortune 500 companies, had 18,500 of a talent pool, whereas we have offices in 19 countries, including USA, UK, Spain, Germany, Singapore. We are working in India as a major 3PL logistics service provider, having 10 million square feet of warehousing space, 300 facilities across 29 states. We are #1 in auto industries, in other sectors for the engineering, white goods, consumer goods, retail, pharma, chemicals. We are providing our end-to-end supply chain services. We have got around 700 owned MHE operations operating across all the functions. Related to the Northeast, we are having presence in Guwahati, where we are having 16 hubs operations. In Silchar, Itanagar, we are having 2 operations, Dimapur 1, Imphal 1, Aizawl 3 operations. Agartala has got another 2 operations. So altogether, we are very much pretty available in the complete Northeast states, and we really see a lot of potential in growing our business and providing a better services to various other customers. So customers include our retail customers are there, FMCG customers are there, electronics, electricals, a lot of customers whom we are providing last mile warehousing services and the primary transportation. If we look at the overall our expectation for the Northeast, with this, just we are now coming up with this pandemic situation. So during pandemic situation also, we approached to a lot of governments to give us an approvals to start our operations, and it was a very much helpful help which was provided by the various state governments across all the Northeast states. This was really a great gateway for us to ensure our team itself and to our customer that okay, the governments at the Northeast are really helping us into aligning the operations, streamlining the operation during the COVID season also. Now with this Northeast, there's a lot of opportunities. The government of India is also pushing for the greater investment in terms of all the 8 Northeast states. The complete Northeast states are coming as a consumer-driven economy, instead of the people moving from those states to other parts of India now likely to stay back in their states looking for the job opportunities, which will definitely bring a demand for the commodities like FMCG, construction materials, food items, other retail companies, and the e-commerce operation will be definitely on a card where the people would like to have the products at their home instead of going into the market or searching out in the market. Other than this, there are a lot of industrialization which is happening in across Northeast state, where the primary processing of the food and the agriculture production is happening. A lot of natural resources, abundant natural resources, which are definitely helping a lot of industries to come up. Also, a key trade gateway between India and Asian neighbors, which is the rise in the cargo movement from the hinterlands and the Southeast Asia. Favorable policies and the incentives which are being offered by the various state governments for the large logistics players and the manufacturing companies, setting up a large logistics hub, owing a complete land pool to create the warehousing hubs there for a future investment purpose, for a future logistics supplies. Whereas efforts we are looking where a lot of like a few panelists also and the minister, honorable minister also given the key intakes like okay, the east-west freight corridor, the Asian highways, Act East policy, and other transport infra projects which are being targeted to be completed in the stipulated time. Definitely give a lot of boost in terms of the logistic players to look forward, to try to invest on the resources, try to invest on the operation, try to invest on the people, on the training, to have a better logistics, try to invest on the transport operators. Whereas a lot of new projects are being approved, which as a jute park, agro hubs, the chemical hubs, the logistics hubs, which are being approved by the various state governments, which are definitely helping us to look inside into the Northeast state for better logistics services. There are a few opportunities where we see a lot of improvements can be done. Like although the lot of emphasis has been now given to the road network improvement, we are seeing that okay, due to this hilly terrain across Northeast, the railway infrastructure is not so good, but that's now been taken care by the railway ministry also. But the type of the roads infrastructure which are there, which are really hampering during the monsoon season, a lot of landslides are happening. The connectivity is not so good to process, to ensure that the trucks are the commodities are delivered well in time. So the lack of return cargo, which is actually is a big challenge for logistics service provider like us to be on a very cost effective for our customers for the providing the services in the well as per the cost which is there. Since there's no return load, so the outbound and the inbound trucks are on a higher side. The cost is really very on a higher side, which needs to be definitely seen a stoppage for the investment. Apart from Assam and Tripura, rest of the states are really needs to be upgraded in terms of the transport systems, transport connectivities, and probably a few laws which are basically related to the local tribal laws, which may sometimes have some issues in terms of operating the warehousing operation or doing the deliveries across that particular state. So maybe a few suggestions from my side, which has already been taken care, like the establishment of the multi-modal logistics connectivity model in the Northeast region with an emphasis of improved trade relations. A well-developed and interconnected road network is imperative to enhance the logistics capabilities, improving the efficacies of the priority sectors like power, communication, and the tower, expediting investment in strengthening the technology backbone of the logistic infrastructure, trust on the advanced technologies like the artificial intelligence. As a service provider from the TVS supply chain also, we are creating a very good talent pool across the Northeast states to take care of the further investment, further operations which we are targeting for various other customers. We have already taken a lot of steps in terms of creating the world-class hubs or the warehousing facilities, which will be basically an automated robotic operations. A lot of infrastructure investment is already been planned in terms of the various other states other than the Assam, because Assam is always was the gateway to the other states in the Northeast. But looking at the growth which we are expecting in the other states, we are very well poised to put up the investments, put up the further improvement in our infrastructure in terms of the transport investment, in terms of the creating the new job opportunities for the across all the states in terms of people involvement, giving the priorities to the local peoples to come and join our organization as a part of our skill development plan also. As an organization, we definitely look forward. We are ready to work with the government. We are ready to work with the local agencies. We are ready to work with the other industries to take care of the logistics services which are to be given to the Northeast states. From my side, that's all, and thanks for calling me on this platform. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. Kapoor, for giving us the insights of how being a major service provider in this segment, you are putting in all the infrastructure in place and the efforts of TVS supply chain solutions in this direction.
Thank you.
We now have Mr. Binay Chirania, Regional Manager, Central Warehousing Corporation, and we request Mr. Chirania to take the warehousing aspect for smooth e-commerce function in Northeast. Mr. Chirania, please let us have your deliberations in this subject.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon to all honorable ministers and other panelists. So I would start with a brief introduction of thereafter I will go into our perspective. So in the Northeast, this is our regional office, Guwahati, which cater to the Northeast warehousing and logistics of the Northeast. We have a pan-India presence with over 420 warehouses with a capacity of more than 1 lakh metric tons. 100 lakhs metric tons. In the Northeast, we have a capacity of 10 lakh square feet. It is in square feet. Along with state warehousing corporations, we have like 25 lakh square feet capacity. If we talk about our central warehousing corporations, we have a presence from Sabroom in the down south to Teju in the east, Arunachal. Again, in Dhubri in the west of the Northeast to Janoi in the bordering Arunachal. So we have a presence, a wide presence here with 18 locations and a few more coming up. Being into the public sector, we provide warehousing at the remotest place and cater to the need of the PDS, public distribution systems, besides small farmers, traders, and including our corporates also. Our few corporate clients includes Big Bazaar, means Future Group, Samsung, Star Cement, ONGC, Macon, Gale, Reltel, and many more. Besides FCI. So, and we are also we are also focusing on the look-east policy, and we are coming up with the many new projects at the remotest locations. That includes one Jonobhotto in the central Nagaland. You can believe, sir, this Jonobhotto is a location where from Dimapur we have to have a 10 to 12 hours drive from Dimapur to reach this Jonobhotto. We are operating at such a remote locations, being into the public sector, because we look at the social objectives besides the need of the area for its development. So I will take this platform to ask the honorable panelists, see that how the road conditions and others can be improved, because these are the challenges. We face a huge challenge and huge cost to operate at such locations. So there is need of the hour that some other infrastructures also comes up, like road infrastructures are improved, as other panelists also said that road besides Tripura and Assam are in a very bad shape, more particularly in the state of Nagaland. We are also operating in coming up with a warehousing project in Namsai. It is in Arunachal, East Arunachal, and again in the Sabroom in the down south. Since now that Feni bridge, that Metri bridge in the Feni river is about to complete, so we have already taken up the land and coming up with a big project to cater to the international and that the trade which will come up from Calcutta to by sea route. The trade will come to support those that trade, we are already coming up with a warehouse at down south. Besides, we are in, as a minister from Mizoram is there, we are looking for the land at the Aijal so that we can, there is a huge storage gap in state of Mizoram, again in few part of the down south, South Tripura. There are many areas there are storage gaps. We do identify the storage gaps and see its viability, and we construct the warehouses. So, and we don't take any government support. We fund our activity by ourselves. We are profit-making PSUs, Mini Ratna PSU. We invest based on the viability of the project and the storage gap of the area, with the social objective as well as viability. So I would request the honorable ministers and any panelists, if we are ready to construct new warehouses as per the requirement, subject to certain constraints like availability of the reasonable land. So land is a major constraint for further expansion in this northeast area. So I will request donor and our ministers and other panelists, if they can see how warehousing is a very priority area, especially in the northeast, when we are not able to make the procurements. The farmers, like for farmers, we are unable to provide proper infrastructure, proper facilities for their procurement directly for the farmers, so that they are so for this, warehousing is also a basic need. But for warehousing, again, there are other constraints. So to cater all these things, I will see that this priority area should be attended, and we are ready to invest. And we are also ready to invest for other e-commerce companies. If there is demand is there, we are ready to BOT model, also build to suit model. We can build, construct a warehouse as per the requirement of the clients. So as of now, I want to sum up here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chirania, for giving us the insights as far as Central Warehousing Corporation is concerned, with their efforts of putting across a network of warehousing facilities in the entire Northeast, and more so with a service-oriented attitude, giving a coverage of from Dhubri to Teju and then Namsai, and as remote areas as Uniboto, you are creating warehousing facilities. We are really going to get benefits out of this. We now have our last speaker, Mr. Nitumani Goswami, Head Operations East India Amazon, to give us the user's perspective on the subject as far as the logistics part is concerned and the challenges and opportunities that we have in this sector. Mr. Nitumani Goswami.
Thank you, Mr. Rohit. Thank you so much. And I welcome once again all listeners, and I thank and express my gratitude to everyone present in this webinar. I will try to keep it very short and simple, and rather than restricting myself to Amazon, I would like to touch upon how logistics, unlocking the logistics opportunities in Northeast would probably propel this entire growth in e-commerce. I'll probably touch upon the basics of the consumer and seller relationship in this entire e-commerce piece, where probably a consumer or a customer looks for a large selection, and that's how we see it. Consumer looks for value, the right value of a product, and the most important part is convenience. And I think I would like to stick to convenience part of it, and it is actually related to this entire supply chain
logistics, the opportunities and the challenges. So, restricting it to Northeast, we discussed, and incidentally, I am from Northeast, so I know the land and languages and people there, and of course the opportunities and the challenges. Uh, yes, I discussed about the challenges like we have challenges on the road connectivities. We discussed about some of the challenges which existed earlier as far as rail connectivity is concerned, and we had air connectivity issues earlier also, but over the years we have seen a lot of development as far as road connectivities, rail connectivities and air connectivities are concerned. But if I look at all these 7 and 8 states, 8 states put together, we still have a long way to go as far as road connectivity and rail connectivity is concerned. And uh, uh, when I was hearing to Mr. Hassan about the facilitation of e-commerce companies by NF Railways in transporting uh, goods and these packages from rest of the country to Northeast, I think that's a great step. Uh, Happy to also talk about that we are already doing it with NF Railway. We are bringing customer shipments to Guwahati via railway. So that's a first step to it. And I think in future we look forward to realizing the potential beyond Guwahati also, how to take it from Guwahati to rest of the states in Northeast. I think that's gonna be a big unlock in the entire logistic part of it as far as e-commerce is concerned. That will also mean a lot of unlocking of potential as far as cost is concerned. Uh, the second part, Mr. Kapoor mentioned about some of the challenges in the road connectivities uh, and other challenges, and we know about this thing, and some of it is related to the entire, let's say monsoon season or the extreme weather and the terrains that we have in Northeast. This is one area probably which will uh, need to be addressed in the coming future, which will really help the entire, not only the e-commerce, and of course it's a cycle. How do we help this entire logistics and supply chain industry as well as e-commerce? Because e-commerce would always depend, when we talk of convenience, it will always depend on the speed of fulfillment of the orders. If I am a customer, I am looking for that essential product or a non-essential product at a certain date. If due to logistics problem or a supply chain issue, due to ground situation, probably that package which the customer was expecting on a certain day, that might get delayed. I think this is the cycle which we probably uh, need to keep on improvising. Uh, the other piece which I mentioned earlier, also in my earlier talk, was we uh, take safety and security of people and our packages of our customers extremely important, and it is one of the most important factor. And I'm sure every other organization also is taking safety and security of people and their products very seriously. And that's how this a safe network of logistics, a safe connectivity amongst the state is going to be very important. This is something which we will have to keep in forefront. How do we facilitate movement of the vehicles, the goods moving from one state to the other state, within Northeast, out of the Northeast. I think that is going to be very critical. We have seen a lot of improvement over the years, but this is in the coming years, this is going to be very important. uh, I think as I mentioned earlier, it is simply the beginning, or we are still scratching the surface of the entire e-commerce industry. Uh, Northeast, again, as I said, there are so many industries, small industries, so many sellers, and homegrown entrepreneurs in all the states. Uh, I think once we unlock this some of these potentials, I think we will be able to take this specific and rare unique products from Northeast to the rest of the country, and of course the consumers across the across the Northeastern region would be able to order anything and everything on these platforms and get them delivered at their doorsteps. That's all from my side. Thank you so much. Uh, Thank you, Mr. Purohit.
Thank you, Mr. Goswami. And with this, we sum up. And in the sum up, I would only add that we have had very good discussions. We could listen to Central Warehousing Corporation, the warehousing network in the remotest of the Northeast area. And then we have had Mr. Kapoor, who has given us the perspective of previous supply chain solutions and the warehousing network that they have created, and the outlook they do have for northeastern part of the country. We have had the discussions from Chief Commercial Manager, Freight Marketing, with the railway perspective as far as the railway network is concerned, and the upcoming projects of railway are concerned. We are really thankful to Mr. Goswami for giving his perspectives on this subject. The sum up that we get is that yes, a lot of work has been done in this direction as far as the macros are concerned, the connectivity is concerned, the warehousing networks are concerned. The government is really very serious, as we could hear from the Honorable Minister, and things have been taken into right direction. What we really need to do is, at this point of time, is some sort of entrepreneurial development or some entrepreneur development activity which can be best taken up by the e-com company, the biggies in the e-com like Amazon and the Flipkarts and the other biggies in the e-com companies. If they can take up some entrepreneur development programs from their side, in which they can pick up a number of Northeast entrepreneurs from a basic level and then develop them into a better entrepreneur who can serve the logistics industry, more so for the express logistics, which takes care of the e-com logistics in this part of the country. By that, we will be able to give or create a lot of employment generation, and we will be able to tap the market that is available in this part of the country, as well as growth for the e-com companies. With this, we are really thankful to Mr. Chirania, Mr. Tanveer Hassan, Mr. Aditya Kapoor, and Mr. Nitumani Goswami for being with us on this session and make this session more meaningful and relevant to today's subject. We are really thankful to Mr. Saikit Roy Chaudhary, Regional Director, East and Northeast Confederation of Indian Industries, to be present here today. We are thankful to Chairman, Chair, Northeast Council, and Managing Director, Premier Cryogenics. We are really thankful to Dr. R. Lalthangliana, Honorable Minister of Industries and Commerce, for giving in his time today and deliberate on the perspective from Mizoram government side, and Dr. Jitendra Singh, Honorable Minister of State, Ministry of Development, Northeastern Region, for being with us and giving us the new slogan that we have had today. North East means new engine. we are really thankful to all of you, all the participants, and the CII Secretariat who has made this event possible. I forward it now to Shanta to take it forward from here.
Thank you, Mr. Purohit, and
you.
I would like to thank you also once again. Shanta, please go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's okay. No, we thank all the participants and all the panelists for being with us today. And we look forward for such more associations in the future events to come. And we are definitely going to work in this field, and your suggestions and advice would really be needed to more proactive and do much impact in this sector. So looking forward to your continued support and association. We conclude this today's event. Thank you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.